Good morning. Welcome to my annual report to the Chamber of Commerce and to the residents of the City of Palos Heights. Every year I try to talk about what has happened in the past year and with the City of Palos Heights and where we're going forward. And we always start out with the city finances, which has been great for the last number of years. If you look at the charts, you'll see that, in fact, we've run at a surplus since 2001, which is the last 20-some years. And it's actually significant because what we do is at the end of the year, we look at where our cash balances are, the general fund balance specifically. And we take and we'll put 30% of that in the general fund and leave it there. And that number comes from, that's the operational amount of money we need to operate the city going forward for the next year. Then the different balance of that, whether it be 10 or 15% additional, goes into capital spending. And why is that important? That's important because that allows us to get grants from various places to spend for improvements, capital improvements for the city. For example, you'll see from 2013 to 2022, we've received $7,500,000 in grants. Since 2001, we've received $11,200,000 in grants. Because most of these grants are, say, 20, 80, we have to put up 20%, the grantee puts up the other 80%. This allows us to spend more than the amount of money we actually put into the capital fund. Where does most of this money go, or where does a lot of this money go? Different projects throughout the city. For example, we have averaged over close to $450,000 a year to improve the local roads through the city of Palos Heights. As most of you know, we don't have curbs and sewers. We have surface water drainage on our roads, which maintains that we have to improve the roads, but not only improve the roads, improve the culverts, so the drainage throughout the city continues to work. So on an annual basis, we take the money that's in the capital fund along with the money we generate from your vehicle sticker payments, and that money goes to the improvement of the roads. So we've averaged about $450,000 a year in road improvements, and that will continue on. We have a program that every road in the city of Palos Heights should, in fact, be resurfaced every 15 years. And that number comes from the fact that about road life basically has a life expectancy of around 15 or 20 years. So that should replenish the road inventory going forward. Besides fixing the roads, and those are capital projects we have. The public works have come into play working on the roads, but also removing snow. Last year in 2022, we had 11 snow events. We spread 502 tons of salt during the snow events. As you know, the straights get done in the morning. You go off to work. For the most part, you have no problem getting out of the city of Palos Heights onto the main thoroughfares. And that's our goal, is to get people into where they want to work. Besides that, the city of Palos Heights, we've also resurfaced 1.4 miles of roads last year under our road program. That was Shadow Creek Drive, Pinehurst Drive, Westgate Avenue, McIntosh, Oak Lane, and also 69th Avenue. We did asphalt patching throughout the city, which needs to be done on an ongoing basis. We've installed 2 crosswalks on 127th Street, right across from the rec center, for the people going to and from Independence School and going to the rec center. When it's monitored during the day with the crossing guards just push the button, the flashing lights come on and makes traffic stop. If someone individually wants to cross to go to the rec center or the school, push the button, flashing light goes on, and traffic should stop. Make it safer for our residents and kids to get to and from the rec center and the schools. Last year, we also started a fire hydrant program so that all the fire hydrants in town will be painted every other year. Last year, throughout town, we painted 216 fire hydrants. And coupled with that, we've had a lot of stormwater retention and rehabilitation. We installed 300 feet of pipe in Community Park where the paths are to relieve the flooding that was going on through Community Park. We've also replaced about 100 feet of storm sewage. And we also rebuilt about 30 storm sewers throughout the town going forward. One of the problems we're having is that, in fact, the aging environment we're in, our town is a little over 50 years old, okay? Water and sewer systems are about that same age. We're starting to see problems with the water and sewer systems. The sanitary sewer systems, this last year we had to put in 800 feet of pipe in Menominee for a lift station. We also did some sanitary lining of about 6,000 square feet. Those are things that are going to be happening in the next couple of years. That keeping in mind, we've also completed about a 10-year capital improvement program that we're going to be working on to replace 16-inch water mains throughout town. So we're getting an inventory now, what we have, what we're going to need, and we're going to be applying for some financing and for some grants. We've made some conversations, and we want to jump on this before it becomes a problem. In the paper, or on TV, you'll see where various towns have had water problems. They've had to, use bottled water. We are not going to get to that point in time. We are going to cut this and work on it now before it becomes a problem. Speaking of water, one of the things we also are fortunate, we do not have a supply of lead pipes throughout town. So that's another thing we can, these pipes are replacing are galvanized for the most part. So that's not a problem as far as having any lead exposure. Some of the other things the City of Palos Heights Public Works people have done is over this last year is they rebuilt Channel 4 studios here that I'm in today, which is used to be the Southwest Central Dispatch Center next to the west of City Hall. We put a new ADA ramp over at Lake Catherine, and we put new windows and siding in Lake Catherine. So all these things, have got done with the Public Works over the last year. That in mind, going on to the next department is these Parks and Recreation. We have, as you know, we have a very active Parks and Recreation area. We were fortunate this last year to open up a new park in Misty Meadows, the Big Dream Park, with dedicated to Kendall and Michael Schofield. It was a great park, continues to be a great park. We had a great grand opening, a lot of activity. That came to play by some residents, Dr. Bill and Christine Hopkins donating the land, the Schofields, Kendall and Michael, who are great people, donating some money for the park itself, and then the city funding the balance of the park. So it was a cooperative effort of a lot of players in this thing, but it's really a community park and adds a nice venue to Misty Meadows, which did not have a park before. We did some pool landscaping last year. We've had a lot of dead trees that we had accumulated over the years over the Lake Catherine, over at the pool. We tore those out, and we'll be re-landscaping the pool this year. The Veterans Tot Lot, we put in some new equipment there. Crawford Park, we had a little bit of a problem with Crawford Park because of the Oak Lawn water project that went through that area, because went under the high tension wires. That should all be set in place this coming year and should be fully being able to use in 2023. An exciting thing that's happening to the east of the rec center, we purchased a property, the old Feldner property. We purchased that about 5 years ago, and we were fortunate to be awarded a $282,000 grant from OSLOT, which is an open lands grant, to be able to remodel the park. And you'll see going forward in this year, it should be ready by November of 2023. We'll have a new park with the additional parking, a shelter, and walking path and some play features, just to name a few of the things that are going to be happening there. Fitness center, we came back to life in the fitness center. Through COVID, things were very robust over there in the 2021 and 2022. 2022, started to pick up, and now people are starting to come back to the fitness center, so we're glad that that's happening. The 2022 pool season concluded on Labor Day. We've been fortunate that since since we remodeled the pool initially 10 years ago, it's run at a surplus every year in the last 10 years, except for 1 year. We've had a great year with pool passes, activities. People are coming back to the pool. We're very fortunate. It's not an aquatic center to speak of. It's a small community municipal pool, which is really what we intended it to be, and that's what it will be. A lot of families hang out there, which is great. A lot of memories are made at that pool. Lifeguard staff did a great job, and as we've said in the past, we're always looking for lifeguards. Anytime if you know someone who's looking for a job in the summer, it's a great job to have. As a lifeguard at our pool, and please, contact the rec center as far as being able to get a job there. Parks and Recreation also were in charge of the market days this past year. They ran from May 11th to October 12th. On an average, we had about 500 to 600 people a week show up. Great times. We had different things. As far as having vendors out there, a number of various kind of vendors. We also had entertainment, different local organizations. We had made demonstrations as far as what they do in town. So it's a great place to get out in the summertime to see your neighbors and spend some money and enjoying and supporting some local people. On November 12th, December 9th, and December 10th, we had an indoor farmers market, and that worked out well too. We had about 55 vendors there, and it's just a little bit of something to do in the wintertime to kind of get past the doldrums of the wintertime, and good response, and we'll continue to do that. One of the premier events that the rec center or the rec department has done over the last number of years are concerts in the park. This past year, we had some great concerts in the park. We've been fortunate. CNB Bank sponsored the concerts in the park, and we had 4 events that we had probably close to 3,500 people show up for those events. I mean, it was just great. We had some great entertainment. People were out there with their blankets, there's lawn chairs, meeting again with their neighbors, people they may not see on an ongoing basis in a neighborhood, but they come out there and get together, families, bringing out food. It was fantastic. We also had a Movies in a Night, Movies in a Park program that attracted about a little over 200 people. That, along with the different events, this is really what makes Palos Heights what it is, the quality of life. We have annual events that are for the residents, the quality, the Car Classic, Independence Day. We have the Monarch Butter Festival, Movies in a Park that I mentioned before, the Farmers Market. People getting together and enjoying life. Another great thing that we've had happen in 2022 are a lot of new restaurants that have come into town. And you'll see a number of them on your the sheet or on your screen there as far as things that are happening. We have some expanding restaurants that are going to start opening up in 2023, hopefully. Harmony Restaurant with the old Toby's and a number of things has scheduled to open up this year. Meek's Vegan Restaurant opened up just recently, last week, as did the Schwarmer Brothers at 127th and Harlem. And we've got a new restaurant at 12240 South Harlem, Janetti's Bistro. So there's a number of restaurants opening up. One of the biggest things that's going to be happening is, we've all talked about this, is the coming in 2023, probably opening early 2024, will be Pete's Market at the corner of 127th and Ridgeland. That's a process that's been going on for about 8 years in discussions for various reasons, ownership of the mall and the like. But they have started the indoor destruction or reconstruction of the store. They bought the shopping center a number of years ago, last year I guess it would be, and they're continuing to go on and move forward to open up Pete's Market. So we'll be fortunate to think about it, we're a town of a little over 12,000 people. They have 2 major grocery stores. I mean, that's pretty unique in retailing. Also to be added to our population here as far as businesses is the Pride stores. The Pride store will be opening at 83 and Harlem, the northeast corner, hopefully in mid-2023. It's going to be a unique type of operation. It's a family-owned group of, I believe, about 15 convenience centers and gas stations, and mostly in the western suburbs. I've seen about 3 or 4 of them. Very high-class, great restaurants. They're not your typical gas station food. I mean, they actually have individual restaurants in the stores themselves. So I think it'll be an added plus to the city of Palos Heights, and especially where its exposure to it. And the grounds itself will be great looking. And what does all this mean? I mean, we look at the commercial occupancy rates in 2022. We had, in looking at all of our commercial properties, we were at 93.6% occupancy, and that's fantastic. I mean, you look at the retail districts itself, just, again, the first number I gave you was business, whether it need not be retail or office. 93%. I mean, that's 7% vacancy rate. Unheard of now, especially in this environment. But going forward, the retail side, if you look at this situation where you take out Dominic's, we were at 92%. Adding Dominic's, we're still at 84% of occupancy. With the addition of the Pete's Market, we'll be approaching 93% total retail occupancy, a 7% vacancy rate in retail. Again, unheard of. And really, what does that mean? You've got to look at the fact that the city receives 1% of the retail spending, okay? And you look historically, from 2018 until 2022, we've seen that go from 1.2 million dollars to last year a 1.8 million dollar number as far as our sales tax. It's kind of a misnomer is the fact that now we are also getting money when you buy from Amazon, Wayfair, those places like that. We are starting now getting our 1% sales tax, which we never got before. So that's added a big chunk of about $300,000 to our sales tax. Fantastic operation for us. But two things I'd like to call your attention to is during the pandemic, we only saw a $20,000 decrease in sales tax, just a little over 1%. So our people, our restaurants, still were able to maintain sales, now maybe with some adjustments, but they were able to maintain sales going forward as far as being able to flourish. One of the things that happens here is that we don't have a lot of major chains, okay? We have a couple, but to speak of, but we're locally owned restaurants. That allows our restaurant owners to make adjustments. You go down on LaGrange Road, you'll see some of the bigger IHOPs, Denny's, they're closed, okay? They couldn't make an adjustment to the pandemic. Our local restaurants were able to maybe cut back hours a little bit, go to carry-out only or just limited number of seating, but that allowed them to adapt locally to survive during the pandemic, and we've seen that. So now last year we were at 1.8 million. A significant thing to keep in mind is when we add Pete's and add the Pride store, next 2 years, we're going to be well over $2 million in sales tax, something that the city of Palos Heights has never achieved in its history. Even when we had a couple car dealers, we were never close to $2 million in sales tax. Where does that sales tax come from? You look at the local food establishments, makes up a good portion of that. And why is that? Well, a number of years ago, Harlem Avenue especially, you had a lot of small specialty shops. The small specialty shops, small specialty shops were men's clothing stores, independent drugstores, sporting goods shops. We had a camera shop, things such as that. That's what populated Harlem Avenue. Those stores, unfortunately, based on modern retailing, for the most part, don't exist anymore. With the addition of Amazon and things we talked about before, Etsy, things like that, a lot of that stuff's gone away. You've had the bigger boxes, like the Home Goods has replaced a lot of the knick-knack stores and things such as that. So we've had to adapt, and we have adapted very, very well. All those spots, majority of those spots that were at one time retail stores are now restaurants. It does create somewhat of a problem for us going forward, which we're trying to deal with, is the fact that when they had the specialty shops, you'd have one or two people go in at a time, come back out to their car and leave. When you have restaurants now, you have people, 20, 30, 40, 50 people in a restaurant, and they stay for a longer period of time. Creates a parking problem. And that's something that on Harlem Avenue we're going to have to continue to deal with. We've added the municipal parking lot, and we're not done yet. We're going to have to continue to work on that. But that's another side. But again, it all talks about that's our family, that's our environment of what we want to have here in Palos Heights, our nice small restaurants where people can go out and enjoy themselves. Let's segue a little bit now to construction and what's happened in the city of Palos Heights, and even again, we've seen a flourish of people coming into town. We've seen a lot of rehabs in the older section of town, remodeling, tear downs. Fantastic. We issued 874 building permits last year. We've had 10 single-family homes. We've had 10, right, as of right now, we've got 10 homes under construction. So we've had a lot of activity. We've had a lot of commercial activity, a lot of new businesses coming in. We issued 27 commercial building permits last year. So those are things to keep in mind, that things are prospering here in the city of Palos Heights. Along with that, we've had some problems, not problems, but we've had to deal with police issues. You'll see we've had a number of hit and runs, 367 hit and runs last year, 470 crashes. If that's the worst thing that happens, I guess we can live with that. We don't have the major crimes, which is really what we're concerned with, and we feel safe, we feel confident that we have a safe city here in the city of Palos Heights. Just as a segue here, we also, the city of Palos Heights last year put in a new memorial garden dedicated to the former Sergeant Mike Saglifa. It's right over there next to the police station. Another thing to keep in mind is that we have a number of specialty groups to keep that crime, as I mentioned earlier, down. We have electronic bicycles. We've got a drone. We've added flock cameras. And what flock cameras are? License plate readers. We've added a number of those throughout town, and we're going to continue to look to add those, where they take pictures of people's license plates, where if a crime is committed, say at 119th and Harlem, as they drive through and their license plate is recorded, if they show up over in Alsip, which is the case we've had happen here just within the last 6 months, the Alsip police know they're there, and that's where the arrest can be made. So it's a network throughout the whole Chicago metropolitan area. Again, things that are done all to create safety in the city of Palos Heights. One important thing we have added, and there's been a lot of talk about this over the years, is the mental health crisis that's going on in the environment. We've added a community mental health officer. They handled 91 cases last year. 62 of those cases were Palos Heights residents. And the highest age group that's served are people 21 to 34. But we've had people over 65 served, so there's no restriction as far as who gets served by this. But 46% of those people had also been previously diagnosed with some type of mental health problem. But we are in a position now to deal with those situations. We've added a full-time officer to do that. Going forward, let's talk about the things that make Palos Heights great. We're fortunate, we're one of the places that you've got great businesses, a lot of extras. We've got Palos Hospital, you've got things that are going on in town, a college, we've got a great education system in here town, all high quality of life things for the residents of the city of Palos Heights. And I want you to know that going forward, we are continuing to devote a lot of our time and effort to aesthetics. We've had things over the last number of years. We've added murals, we've added art projects. We've done things just as small as changing all the street signs on Harlem Avenue to reflect some nicer display, as opposed to just having Harlem Avenue and in black letters. We've added the medians, we've added planter boxes. We're going to continue to do that, all in an attempt to have the quality of life be #1 for our residents. Keeping that in mind, one of the things that brings the quality of life here in Palos Heights is Lake Catherine. It's the jewel of the southwest suburbs. I mean, we've got an 85-acre preserve over here with a 10-acre lake. We've had 135,000 people visit Lake Catherine each year for the last number of years. We have kayaks, we have a nature center. All of those things help to bring people here and have a good time in the city of Palos Heights. They've got a number of projects going on right now over at the Palos Heights. They've received last year about $85,000 in donations, but I know they're looking to do some remodeling on the grounds itself. Over the last number of years, we've had about rentals of about 1,200 people use the facilities over there to rent. We've had children's programs. So I think last year they said there were 4,100 people, children who actually went through the programs we have over there. So again, we talked about canoes and kayaks. They had 3,200 kayaks rented. I mean, these are things that make it's a nice place to live and a nice place to be. So going forward, you'll see a number of things that they have planned. As I said, they're going to talk about a boathouse being over there for the kayak rentals. They've done things to, burns and stuff to create an opening for different areas to clean out to plant new flowers and the like. So keep it in mind, keep your ears open to what's going to be happening at Lake Catherine. A lot of activities, and they're going to be needing your help. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the public library. The public library, Palos Heights, we've got, for a small town, we've got one of the greatest libraries around. Last year they had almost 85,000 people visit. People talk about public libraries being dead because of the internet. That's not the case. People still use it. And we had over close to 140,000 volumes borrowed at the library. Okay, they deliver them to your house. 1,200 items were delivered to people's houses last year who couldn't get out. You have a question, you don't know an answer. They answered like 20,000 questions over at the library. So these are things that go on over at the library. They have a meeting room you can use or rent. A lot of local clubs and organizations rent it, and it's really great. It's been going forward. One of the biggest things they did last year is they remodeled the area upstairs for youth and teens, and you'll see that in the slide that's on the screen. Great area. Brought my grandkids up there. They loved it. So take a time, visit, walk upstairs, and see what they've got. Well, we're fortunate. We have a public arts commission. Last year, again, this goes back to the quality of life and what things we could do here in Palos Heights. They added a storybook garden over at Lake Catherine. They were instrumental in designing the vehicle sticker we used last year. If you remember last year and then this year, we kind of expounded upon it. We put in the Lights in the Heights, which is over next to City Hall there, which is the light display for kids and adults to walk through. It's a fantastic area. People were singing Christmas carols, having hot chocolate out there. It worked out great. So again, thank you to the Public Arts Commission. And remiss, we didn't talk about Channel 4. Channel 4, we're here today in their new digs over here, which used to be the Southwest Central Dispatch, which moved over to 95th Street, and they aired 305 shows last year. I mean, premier, the local cable access network in the Chicagoland area, if not the state. They put on shows that they averaged about 120 hours of viewing, and they did this breaking all the previous records that we've done here in Palos Heights. Now, we're excited the fact that they are in the new quarters, and I think going forward, it's going to be nothing but good things happening here in Palos Heights. We're getting some volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers, more volunteers, as I said, here at Channel 4, but not just Channel 4, whether it be at Lake Catherine, the library, everybody's always looking for volunteers. So we need, as a group, to get out and volunteer to help people in our town here. One of the things Channel 4 does give is transparency, and that's not just limited to Palos Heights and to Channel 4. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Constant Contact, we have newsletters, we broadcast the city council meetings. Our website, which we're redoing right now, also has all the minutes and things such as that. Just for example, we have 3,300 followers on Facebook. We have almost 900 followers on Twitter, and our email subscription is close to 4,000 people. So the information is out there. If you want some information, please call City Hall. But we're always open. Transparency is something that we talk about forever, and this is where we're going to come from. But the quality of life comes through what we offer for our residents. Great schools for the younger people, great health care for young and old. As I said, with the addition of Northwestern Hospital here now through Palos Community Hospital, this has been a great addition to us. So I mean, this isn't just an area where people want to come and they can continue to prosper here. I mean, we're seeing younger families moving in. In many cases, they're buying their parents' houses, and the parents are staying here. So this is a great sense of community when you know you moved back here with your family where you grew up, because you have a sense of pride of living in Palos Heights. So again, thank you. Anytime you need anything from us at City Hall, please feel free to call. We're there, always open to any suggestions. Again, volunteer, help us, we'll help you, and to get things done. So have a good day.